When Hollywood star Keanu Reeves spotted Jennifer Miller standing on a street corner in Los Angeles with a handwritten cardboard sign, he could have driven past like everyone else. The slender woman with exhausted eyes and worn clothing appeared to be just another soul down on her luck asking for assistance. But something compelled him to stop his motorcycle that afternoon. Something about her quiet dignity captured his attention. What began as a simple act of compassion would transform into an extraordinary journey that would forever alter both their lives. Because what Keanu didn't realize as he pulled over was that this desperate mother of three harbored a devastating secret, one that would soon compel him to make the most significant decision of his life. No one could have predicted what would happen next. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments below. Keanu Reeves rubbed his weary eyes as he pulled away from the film studio in Hollywood. The sky blazed with orange and pink as the sun began to set. It had been an exhausting day of shooting for his latest action thriller. His mind was foggy from reciting dialogue and performing stunts all day. Just need to get home, he muttered to himself as he mounted his beloved motorcycle. The powerful machine hummed to life beneath him, and he pulled onto the road. Keanu simply wanted to return to his modest home, eat something simple, and maybe spend some time playing his bass guitar to unwind. The motorcycle slowed to a stop at a red light. Keanu lifted his visor and glanced to the side. That's when he noticed her, a thin woman standing on the corner. Her clothes were clean but obviously well worn, her auburn hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She held a cardboard sign that read, "Single mom needs food for kids." Her face showed fatigue, but her eyes revealed a quiet strength. Keanu had seen countless people asking for help on street corners before. Usually, he would discreetly leave some money with his assistants to distribute or support charities anonymously, a practice he'd maintained throughout his career. But something about this woman was different. She wasn't actively seeking attention. She simply stood there, her gaze meeting each driver's eyes with dignity. The light turned green. Keanu started to move forward, then abruptly pulled his motorcycle to the curb. For a moment, he sat there, uncertain why he had stopped. He had a morning shoot tomorrow. He had films to complete, scripts to memorize, and training sessions to attend. He didn't have time for distractions. But he couldn't shake the look in that woman's eyes. With a sigh, he dismounted his motorcycle as the woman approached cautiously. "Hello," Keanu said softly. "I saw your sign." The woman nodded, keeping a safe distance from him. Up close, Keanu could see that her face was sunburned, and her hands were rough from hard work. "My name is Jennifer," she said. Her voice was quiet but clear. "Jennifer Miller." "I'm Keanu," he replied, not sure if she recognized him. Sometimes it was nice when people didn't immediately know who he was. "Do you really need food for your kids?" Jennifer's eyes flashed with a mixture of pride and desperation. "I wouldn't be standing here if we didn't. I've tried everything else." Keanu reached for his wallet. "How much do you need?" Jennifer shook her head. "I don't want your money, sir. I mean, I do need it, but what I really need is a job. I've been looking for months. I'm a software developer. I was good at it too, before." Her voice trailed off. Keanu's interest was suddenly piqued. A software developer standing on a street corner begging? "Before what?" he asked. Jennifer looked away, watching the cars zoom past. "Before my husband died. Before I lost our house. Before everything fell apart." A car honked behind them. Keanu's motorcycle was partially blocking the lane. "Would you like to get something to eat?" Keanu offered. "We can talk more comfortably." Jennifer hesitated, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. "I just want to hear your story," Keanu assured her. Maybe I can help. If not, at least you'll get a good meal. After a long moment, Jennifer nodded. There's a diner around the corner, but I need to call my neighbor first. She's watching my kids. As they walked the short distance to the diner, Jennifer made a quick call, thanking someone named Carmen for watching the children a bit longer. The diner was nearly empty when they arrived. A bell jingled as they walked in, and the aroma of coffee and comfort food filled the air. They slid into a booth by the window. Jennifer sat with her back straight, her hands folded neatly on the table. "Order whatever you want," Keanu said, gesturing toward the menu. Jennifer ordered a grilled cheese sandwich and a cup of soup. Keanu noticed she immediately asked for a to-go box. She was planning to take food home to her children. "How many children do you have?" Keanu asked after the waitress left. "3, Jennifer answered. "Emma is 7, Noah is 5, and little Lily is 18 months old." "And you're raising them alone now?" Jennifer nodded, her eyes dropping to the table. "My husband Michael was a veteran. He got sick 2 years ago. The doctors tried everything, but..." She swallowed hard. "He died last year." "I'm sorry," Keanu said simply, the words carrying genuine weight. He was no stranger to loss himself. "We were doing okay at first," Jennifer continued. "I was working from home as a programmer while taking care of him, but the medical bills piled up. Then the company I was working for went under. Without Michael's income and with a gap in my work history, I couldn't keep up with the mortgage." The food arrived. Keanu noticed how Jennifer's eyes widened at the sight of the steaming soup, but she didn't rush to eat it. "You said you're a programmer," Keanu asked. "What languages do you know?" A spark lit in Jennifer's eyes for the first time. "Python, Java, C++. I specialized in AI applications." Keanu raised his eyebrows. "Really? And you can't find work?" Jennifer took a small spoonful of soup before answering. "It's complicated. I don't have a permanent address. My laptop was stolen from our car last month. I don't have childcare, and there's a gap in my resume now." She looked up at him. "Would you hire someone who's been living in their car for 6 months?" The directness of her gaze challenged him. "Where are your children now?" Keanu asked. "With my neighbor Carmen. She lives in the motel where we park our car most nights. She watches them when I..." Jennifer gestured vaguely toward the street. "When I have to do this." "And they're there now?" "At the motel?" Jennifer nodded, taking another careful spoonful of soup. "How long has it been since they've had a proper meal?" Keanu asked quietly. Jennifer's hand trembled slightly as she set down her spoon. 3 days. I've been giving them most of my food, but it's not enough. That's why I was out there today. I never thought I'd be begging on a street corner, but when your kids are hungry." Her voice broke. Something shifted in Keanu's chest as he watched this proud woman fighting back tears. He thought of his own experience with hardship, of the people he'd lost, of the struggles he'd encountered despite his success. The contrast between his life and hers struck him deeply. "I'd like to meet them," he said suddenly. Jennifer looked up, startled. "My children? Why?" "Because I want to help. Not just with one meal, but really help." "You don't even know me," Jennifer said, her voice barely above a whisper. "No," Keanu agreed. "But I'd like to." What Jennifer said next stopped Keanu cold. "I know who you are, Mr. Reeves," Jennifer said quietly. "Everyone knows who you are. And I don't want your pity. My children and I don't need a celebrity's charity. We need a chance." Keanu sat back, surprised both by her recognition and her pride. Most people in her situation would just take whatever money was offered. "Tell me more about yourself," he said. "How did a software developer end up on that street corner?" Jennifer took a deep breath. She carefully broke her sandwich in half and wrapped one portion in a napkin, tucking it into the to-go box. "I grew up in Seattle," she began. "My parents didn't have much money, but they believed in education. I worked hard in school and got a scholarship to study computer science. That's where I met Michael, my husband." Her eyes softened at the mention of his name. Michael was studying engineering on an ROTC scholarship. He was brilliant and kind. We got married right after graduation. He served 5 years in the Army while I worked remotely as a programmer. We were saving for a house, planning our future. She paused to take a sip of water. When Michael finished his service, we moved to Los Angeles. The tech scene was growing, and we both found good jobs. We bought a small house, had Emma and then Noah. Everything was going according to plan. Keanu nodded, recognizing the familiar path of young professionals with dreams. "What happened?" he asked. Jennifer's face clouded. 2 years ago, Michael started getting headaches. Terrible ones. The doctors found a rare form of brain cancer. They said it might be linked to his exposure to certain chemicals during his deployment, but they couldn't prove it. She stared down at her half-eaten sandwich. "We tried everything: surgeries, experimental treatments, specialists. Nothing worked. The cancer was aggressive. While I was pregnant with Lily, Michael got worse. He died 3 months after our baby was born." "I'm sorry," Keanu said again, feeling the inadequacy of the words. His own experiences with loss, his stillborn daughter, his sister's battle with leukemia made him intimately familiar with grief's weight. "The medical bills were enormous," Jennifer continued. "Our insurance didn't cover the experimental treatments. I tried to keep working while caring for a newborn and 2 small children, but then the startup I was working for went under. Without Michael's income and with the medical debt, I couldn't keep up with the mortgage payments." She straightened her shoulders slightly, as if bracing against the weight of her story. "I applied for veterans benefits, but there was some problem with Michael's paperwork. They said his illness couldn't be definitively linked to his service. I've been fighting with the VA for months, but meanwhile..." "You lost the house," Keanu finished for her. Jennifer nodded. "We moved into a cheap apartment, but I couldn't find another programming job that would let me work from home with 3 kids. Without childcare, I couldn't take an office job. Without an office job, I couldn't afford childcare. It's a trap." Her voice remained steady, but Keanu could see the tension in her jaw, the effort it took to maintain her composure. "We stayed with friends for a while, but you can only impose for so long. 6 months ago, we ended up in our car, an old Honda Civic. Not much room for 5 years worth of possessions and 3 children, but it runs. Most nights we park at the Blue Moon Motel. The manager lets me use their address for mail, and there's a nice woman named Carmen who watches the kids sometimes when I look for work. Or..." Her voice trailed off. "Or when I have to beg." Keanu watched her carefully. There was no self-pity in her voice, just a matter-of-fact recounting of her circumstances. "What about family? Parents, siblings?" "My parents died years ago. I was an only child. Michael had a brother, but he has his own problems. He can barely take care of himself, let alone help us." She took another small bite of her sandwich, chewing slowly as if to make it last. "The hardest part is watching the children adjust to all this. Emma understands too much. She's so serious now, always trying to help me, to be brave. Noah asks when we're going home at least once a day. And Lily. Her voice caught. Lily has never known a real home. Just the car and motel rooms. Keanu thought about his own challenging childhood, the many moves, his parents' divorce, the struggle to find stability. He'd found escape in acting, but children this young had no such outlets. Emma used to take dance classes, Jennifer continued. She loved ballet. Noah is obsessed with science and outer space. She gave Keanu a small smile. He'd be thrilled to know I'm talking to you. He has a book about space exploration that he found at a little free library. The pages are falling out, but he reads it every night. Something twisted in Keanu's chest, a child reading about space in a car that doubled as his home. What about you? He asked. What did you specialize in as a programmer? Jennifer's eyes lit up again. AI applications, particularly machine learning algorithms. My last project before the company folded was developing predictive models for sustainable energy implementation. She hesitated. Actually, it was for solar panel efficiency. Something your friend's environmental foundation might have found useful. Keanu raised his eyebrows, impressed despite himself. I haven't given up, Jennifer said firmly. I go to the public library whenever I can to use the computers. I'm trying to keep my skills sharp. I apply for jobs online, but without a permanent address or reliable childcare. She shrugged. Most hiring managers see the gap in my resume and move on. What will you do now? Keanu asked. Keep trying, she said simply. What else can I do? The kids deserve better than this. She gathered her things, preparing to leave. Thank you for the meal, Mr. Reeves. I should get back to my children. Keanu nodded, still processing everything she had told him. As they walked back to his motorcycle, he asked, would you show me where you're staying? Where your children are? Jennifer stopped walking. Why? I'd like to help, he said. Really help, not just buy you dinner. I told you, we don't need charity, she said, her voice tight. It's not charity to give someone a chance, Keanu replied, using her own words. You said you're a programmer who specialized in AI and machine learning. Those are skills my friends' companies need. Jennifer stared at him, suspicion and hope battling in her expression. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering to meet your children and see your situation firsthand, Keanu said carefully. Then we can talk about what happens next. After a long moment, Jennifer nodded. The motel is about 10 minutes from here. As they drove through the darkening streets, Keanu glanced at Jennifer's profile. She sat straight on the back of his motorcycle, her gaze fixed forward. There was a quiet dignity about her that impressed him. What Jennifer didn't tell him, what she couldn't bring herself to say, was about the doctor's appointment she'd had the week before. About the headaches that had started 2 months ago, identical to Michael's early symptoms. About the preliminary scan that showed a shadow where no shadow should be. About the devastating diagnosis she had received, just like her husband's. About the terrible fear that kept her awake at night. What would happen to her children when she was gone? The Blue Moon Motel was a faded 2-story building with peeling blue paint. Flickering neon cast an eerie glow across the nearly empty parking lot. Keanu spotted an old Honda Civic with a taped-up back window parked at the far end. That's our car, Jennifer said, following his gaze. We sleep there when we can't afford a room. Keanu frowned. Where do all of you fit? The kids sleep in the back seat. I recline in the driver's seat, she said matter-of-factly, without complaint. They climbed the outdoor stairs to the second floor. Jennifer knocked on room 27. The door opened to reveal an older woman with gray hair pulled into a messy bun. You're back early, Carmen said, then she noticed Keanu and her eyes widened. Carmen, this is a friend who wanted to meet the kids, Jennifer explained. How are they? They're fine. Noah's showing Lily his space book again. Carmen gave Keanu a suspicious look before stepping aside. The motel room was small but clean. 2 queen beds took up most of the space. On one bed sat a serious-looking girl with dark braids and a worn teddy bear. On the floor, a small boy with messy brown hair was showing a picture book to a toddler who kept trying to grab the pages. "Mommy," the little boy shouted when he saw Jennifer. He jumped up and ran to her, wrapping his arms around her legs. The wobbly toddler followed with unsteady steps, arms reaching up. Jennifer knelt down, gathering both children into a hug. "I missed you too. Were you good for Ms. Carmen?" The girl remained on the bed, watching Keanu warily. "Emma, Noah, Lily, this is Mr. Reeves," Jennifer said, standing up with the toddler on her hip. "He bought us dinner." She held up the to-go box from the diner. "Like the movie star?" Noah asked, staring at Keanu with wide eyes. "From the spaceship movie?" "Yes, that's him," Jennifer confirmed. Noah's mouth fell open. He ran to the bed and returned with a tattered book titled Space Exploration, Our Future Among the Stars. Several pages were hanging loose. "Is it really you?" Noah asked, his voice filled with awe. "The man from the space movie?" Keanu crouched down to Noah's level. "Yes, that's me. Will people really live in space someday?" Noah's eyes shone with excitement. "I believe they will," Keanu answered. "Maybe you'll help make that happen." "I want to build spaceships," Noah declared. "But Mom says I have to finish kindergarten first." A small smile crossed Jennifer's face as she handed half a sandwich to Emma, who still hadn't spoken. "Thank you for the food, sir," Emma said quietly, her eyes never leaving Keanu's face. Something about her serious expression reminded Keanu of himself as a child, being the one who understood too much, who carried adult worries. Lily squirmed in Jennifer's arms, reaching for the food. She sat the toddler on the bed and broke the sandwich into tiny pieces for her. Carmen watched from the doorway. "I should get going. My shift starts soon." After she left, Jennifer turned to Keanu. "This is our life," she said quietly. "Not much, but we're together." Keanu looked around the small room at the children eating their sandwiches, at the few belongings neatly organized in the corner, at the car keys on the nightstand that represented their only true shelter. He thought of his own home, his motorcycles, his film sets. The contrast was jarring. Without fully understanding why, Keanu pulled out his phone and stepped into the hallway. He made a call, speaking quickly and quietly. When he returned, his decision was made. "Jennifer, I want to help your family," he said. "Not just with a meal or money for a motel room. Something more substantial." Jennifer looked at him cautiously. "What do you mean?" "I've booked a suite at the Chateau Marmont. My assistant is arranging it now. You and the children can stay there while we figure out next steps." Jennifer's eyes widened. "Mr. Reeves, that's too much. We can't." "Mom, what's a suite?" Noah interrupted. "Suite," Keanu corrected gently. "It's like a small apartment in a very nice hotel." Noah's eyes grew round. "With real beds and a bathtub?" Keanu added, guessing what might excite a child in their situation, "and room service." Noah looked at his mother pleadingly. "Can we, Mom? Please?" Jennifer hesitated. "It's temporary," Keanu assured her. "Just while we figure out a more permanent solution." You said you wanted a chance, not charity. I'm working on that too. He glanced at the children, lowering his voice. One night in a safe, comfortable place. Let them have that, at least. Jennifer looked at her children, at Emma's thin shoulders, at Noah's excitement, at Lily's innocent face, and nodded slowly. Thank you, she whispered. As they gathered their few belongings, Keanu watched Noah carefully place his space book in a worn backpack. The boy handled it like a treasure. That night, as the children marveled at the plush beds and room service in the hotel suite, Keanu made more calls from the hallway. Something had shifted inside him, something he couldn't yet name but couldn't ignore. He was no longer just helping a stranger, he was involved now, committed in a way that surprised even himself. What had begun as a simple act of kindness was becoming something far more profound. The Chateau Marmont suite felt like another world compared to the Blue Moon Motel. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a sparkling view of Los Angeles's night skyline. The living room opened to 2 bedrooms, each with its own bathroom. Plush white robes hung in the closets, and a fruit basket sat on the marble countertop. Noah ran from room to room, touching everything with wide-eyed wonder. "Mom, the TV is bigger than our car window," he shouted from the living room. "And look at all the pillows." Lily toddled after her brother, giggling at the new game. Only Emma remained cautious, staying close to her mother. "This is too much," Jennifer said quietly to Keanu. "We can't accept this." "It's just a hotel room," Keanu replied. "One that would have sat empty tonight anyway." But they both knew it was more than that. It was dignity, safety, a brief taste of the life her children might have had if things had gone differently. "I ordered some food for everyone," Keanu said, changing the subject. "It should arrive soon." "You've already done so much," Jennifer protested. "I have the means to help," Keanu said simply. "What good is it if you can't use it when it matters?" Before Jennifer could respond, there was a knock at the door. Room service rolled in a cart loaded with covered dishes. The children gathered around, eyes wide at the feast. "Chicken nuggets!" Noah exclaimed, lifting one of the covers. "And French fries and fruit," Jennifer added pointedly, uncovering a bowl of fresh berries. For a few minutes, the room was filled with the happy sounds of children enjoying a proper meal. Keanu watched them from the sofa, sipping a cup of coffee. He noticed how Jennifer made sure the children had everything they needed before taking anything for herself. He also noticed how her hands trembled slightly as she cut Lily's food into tiny pieces. "How long since you've had a full night's sleep?" Keanu asked her when she finally sat down with her own plate. Jennifer gave a tired laugh. "Months? Years? Between worrying about money, working when I can find it, and taking care of 3 kids." She shrugged. "Sleep is a luxury." Keanu nodded, understanding more than she knew. He often went days with minimal sleep when working on a film. "The kids can sleep in the bedrooms tonight," he said. "You take the sofa. I've asked hotel security to keep an eye on this room, so you'll be safe." Relief flooded Jennifer's face. "Thank you," she whispered. "Just one night without worrying about the car being towed with us in it, it means more than you know." After dinner, Jennifer gave the children baths in the enormous marble tub. Their delighted squeals echoed through the suite. Keanu sat in the living room answering emails on his phone but finding his attention drawn to the happy family sounds. When the children emerged in clean hotel t-shirts that hung to their knees, their faces glowed with contentment. Jennifer had used the hotel shampoo to wash their hair, and it curled around their faces as it dried. "Time for bed," she announced. "Say thank you to Mr. Reeves." "Thank you, Mr. Reeves," they chorused. Even Emma's serious face had softened. Can I show him my book first? Noah asked, already reaching for his backpack. Jennifer hesitated, then nodded quickly. Noah pulled out his tattered space book and brought it to Keanu. "This is my favorite page," he said, carefully turning to a spread showing a space station. "Do you think it will really look like this someday?" Keanu studied the page. "Maybe. But I think the real space stations will be even better. I'm going to live there when I grow up," Noah declared. "I'll build spaceships like in your movie." "The first step is to learn all about science and math," Keanu told him. "And to keep asking questions about how things work." Noah nodded solemnly. "I will." As Jennifer tucked the children into bed, Keanu stood by the window, looking out at the city. He could hear her soft voice reading a bedtime story from the hotel guidebook, the only reading material available. When she returned to the living room, her eyes were bright with unshed tears. "Do you know how long it's been since they slept in real beds?" she asked. "Emma just told me she'd forgotten what a soft pillow feels like." Keanu felt something twist in his chest. "Jennifer, I want to help you find a permanent solution, not just a night in a hotel." "I don't expect." "I know you don't," he interrupted. "But I'm in a position to help, and I want to. Not just with money, but with opportunity." He took a breath. "I'll have my team look into your situation. There might be a position at one of my friends' companies that would suit your skills. In the meantime, stay here. Rest. Eat. Let the kids enjoy this." Jennifer stood very still. "Why are you doing this?" Keanu considered the question. Why indeed? He helped charities, of course, but he'd never gotten personally involved like this before. "Because everyone deserves a chance," he finally said. "And your family has had too few." He walked to the door. "I'll be in touch tomorrow. Try to get some sleep." As he left, Keanu glanced back at the living room. Jennifer stood in the center, looking small and lost amidst the luxury, but there was something new in her eyes now: hope. It was a start. Keanu barely slept that night. His mind kept returning to Jennifer and her children, to Noah's excitement over space, to Emma's solemn eyes, to baby Lily's innocent smile, to the way they had all fit their lives into one car and a few backpacks. By 5 a.m., he was already at his desk, making calls and sending emails. "I need a complete background check on Jennifer Miller," he told his security consultant. "Previous employment, education, credit history, everything. And I need it fast." "Any particular reason?" his security consultant asked. "Just do it," Keanu replied. He wasn't ready to explain his sudden interest in a homeless single mother. Next, he called a friend who ran a successful tech company in Silicon Valley. "I need you to check if you have any remote programming positions available," he said. "Specifically, something in AI or machine learning." "At what level?" "Senior," Keanu said without hesitation. Something told him Jennifer was more capable than she let on. "I'll send over what we have," his friend promised. Keanu then turned to housing options. He contacted his real estate agent about available apartments near the tech company's satellite office in Los Angeles. "Something modest but nice," he instructed. 3 bedrooms minimum, good school district. "And I need it immediately." His assistant Olivia appeared in the doorway with coffee. "You're in early," she observed. "New project," Keanu replied. "I need you to arrange for clothes and supplies to be delivered to the Chateau Marmont, Suite 1402. Olivia raised an eyebrow but knew better than to question her boss's requests. "What kind of clothes and supplies?" "For a woman and 3 children, ages 7, 5, and 18 months. Basics, but good quality." And toys for the kids, educational ones. Anything specific for the woman? Keanu thought about Jennifer's obvious pride and dignity. Professional attire. Size. He realized he had no idea. Let the hotel concierge help with sizing. Understood. Anything else? Yes, find out everything you can about veterans' benefits for families, specifically what happens when a veteran dies from service-related illness and leaves behind a spouse and children. Olivia's eyes widened slightly, but she simply nodded and made notes. When do you need this? Yesterday, Keanu said, turning back to his computer. By noon, information was flowing in. The background check on Jennifer confirmed everything she had told him and revealed more. She had graduated at the top of her class from a prestigious computer science program. Her work history showed increasing responsibility at several tech companies, culminating in a lead developer position at a promising AI startup that had indeed folded a year ago. Her credit report showed a steady decline after her husband's death, mortgage payments that were late, then missed entirely, credit cards maxed out, then defaulted, medical bills sent to collections. The final foreclosure on their modest home had happened 6 months ago, just as she had said. The report also included interviews with former colleagues who spoke highly of her work. Brilliant programmer, one said. Could code circles around most of the team. Great problem solver, said another. Always found solutions no one else saw. Keanu also received information about her husband, Michael Miller. Army veteran, honorable discharge, multiple commendations. Medical records showed his battle with a rare form of brain cancer, possibly linked to chemical exposure during deployment. The most disturbing finding was from the VA. A paperwork error had indeed prevented Jennifer from receiving the benefits she was entitled to as a veteran's widow. The case was stuck in appeals, unlikely to be resolved for months. Bureaucratic nonsense, Keanu muttered, forwarding the information to his lawyer with instructions to intervene. The housing search had turned up a 3-bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood near the tech company's office. It was nothing fancy, just a simple, clean place with enough room for a family of 4. Keanu approved it immediately and had his team arrange for a 6-month lease with an option to extend. By late afternoon, Olivia returned with more information. The clothes and supplies have been delivered to the suite, she reported. The concierge helped with sizing. I included professional attire, casual clothes, and necessities for all of them, plus educational toys for the children, building blocks for the little one, a space-themed set for the 5-year-old, and books for the 7-year-old. Good, Keanu nodded. What about childcare options? There's a highly rated daycare center near the apartment complex, Olivia said, pulling up information on her tablet. And there's an opening for the baby. For the older two, the local elementary school has an after-school program. As the day progressed, Keanu found himself unusually distracted during meetings. His mind kept drifting to Jennifer's family. He couldn't explain, even to himself, why their situation had affected him so deeply. Maybe it was Noah's fascination with space, which reminded him of his own childhood passions. Maybe it was Emma's serious eyes that seemed to hold wisdom beyond her years. Or perhaps it was Jennifer herself, her determination to provide for her children despite overwhelming odds. During a video call about his upcoming film schedule, Keanu found himself thinking about his own challenging childhood, his parents' separation, the many moves, the struggle to find stability. He had overcome those obstacles through talent, education, and opportunity, advantages Jennifer's children didn't have, despite their mother's best efforts. They faced a future of uncertainty and hardship unless someone intervened. By evening, Keanu had a plan in place. He contacted the Chateau Marmont and extended Jennifer's stay for another week. He arranged for a car to pick them up the following day to show them the apartment. He had his friend prepare a job offer for a remote senior programmer position with flexible hours and competitive pay. It was more than charity, it was a true opportunity for someone with valuable skills who had been dealt a bad hand. As he finally headed home, Keanu's thoughts remained with the Miller family. There was something about their struggle, their resilience, that resonated deeply with him. He couldn't shake the feeling that this chance encounter was somehow meant to be. The next morning, Keanu arrived at the Chateau Marmont earlier than planned. He had spent most of the night finalizing details for Jennifer's job offer and the apartment. As he waited in the lobby, rehearsing what he would say, he saw Jennifer approaching. She had asked to meet him alone while the children enjoyed breakfast in the suite. "I need to tell you something," she said without preamble, her voice steady despite the obvious effort it took. "Before you do anything more for us." They found a quiet corner of the lobby, away from curious eyes. "I haven't been completely honest with you," Jennifer began, her hands twisting in her lap. "The reason I was so desperate on that street corner wasn't just because we needed food or a place to stay." Keanu waited, giving her space to continue. "I went to the doctor last week," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been having headaches. The same kind Michael had at the beginning." She looked up, meeting Keanu's eyes directly. "It's the same cancer. They're almost certain." Despite having learned this information the night before, the pain in her voice struck Keanu deeply. "How long?" he asked gently. 6 months. Maybe a year with treatment." Her voice broke slightly. "I'm not afraid for myself. But my children, after everything they've been through." Keanu reached across and took her hands in his. "Jennifer, listen to me. Your children will be taken care of. I promise you that." "You can't possibly." "I can," he said firmly. "And I will. Not just a job and an apartment, though those things are ready for you. But everything else too, their education, their future, whatever they need. If you'll allow it, I want to be their guardian when." He couldn't finish the sentence. Jennifer stared at him, tears filling her eyes. "Why would you do this for strangers?" Keanu was quiet for a moment, considering his response. "Because someone once helped me when I needed it most. Because your children deserve a chance. Because in this world of disconnection, sometimes the most important thing we can do is simply see each other." He squeezed her hands. "I see you, Jennifer. I see your family. And I want to help." The tears spilled over then, running down Jennifer's cheeks. For the first time since her diagnosis, they weren't tears of fear or grief, but of relief of the unbearable weight being shared. "I accept," she whispered. "For my children." In the months that followed, the Miller family blossomed. Jennifer started her new job, working remotely and excelling despite her treatments. The children settled into their new apartment and school, with Noah joining a special science program and Emma rediscovering her love for dance. Little Lily thrived in daycare, her vocabulary growing daily. Keanu became a regular visitor, often bringing books for the children or taking Noah to science museums. Though he remained private about his involvement, his commitment never wavered. When Jennifer's condition worsened, she faced it with remarkable courage, knowing her children's future was secure. Before she passed, she recorded videos for each child's future milestones: birthdays, graduations, weddings, ensuring her presence would be felt even in her absence. Keanu honored his promise. After Jennifer's passing, the Miller children remained together, raised with love, opportunity, and the knowledge that their mother's strength lived on in them. Noah eventually earned a scholarship to study astrophysics, Emma became an architect, and Lily grew into a compassionate young woman with her mother's quiet dignity. On the 5th anniversary of their chance meeting, Keanu visited Jennifer's memorial with the children. As they placed wildflowers beside her photograph, Noah asked the question that had long been on his mind. Why did you really stop that day? You must pass so many people asking for help. Keanu considered his answer carefully. Sometimes in life, you encounter a moment of truth, a crossroads where you can either turn away or step forward. When I saw your mother standing there with such dignity despite everything, I just knew I had to stop. It wasn't charity, it was humanity. The story of Keanu Reeves and the Miller family reminds us of a profound truth. How many people like Jennifer do we pass by every day, never knowing the silent battles they fight? How many lives could be transformed by a moment of genuine connection, of seeing beyond appearances to the human being standing before us? As you go about your day today, remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. A simple act of kindness, a moment of truly seeing someone, could be the turning point in their story. Where are you watching from? Have you ever experienced or witnessed a life-changing act of kindness? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story touched your heart, please pass it on. Sometimes the stories that move us most are the ones that remind us of our shared humanity and the difference one person can make in the lives of others.